His story opens with a slow, wide cinematic pan across the countryside, golden sunlight cutting through morning mist. Ethan Cole's old pickup truck rolls down a dirt road that used to lead to his family's farmland. He's been gone for years, working out of state, surviving personal loss, and trying to forget the world that took his father's legacy. But as he turns the corner, his heart stops. Where there once were fields and an old barn, now stand dozens of identical homes, fresh paint glistening under the sun. The sign at the entrance reads, "Welcome to Willow Creek Residences, a managed HOA community." Ethan slows the truck, disbelief turning into quiet anger. A private security guard steps forward. "Sir, this area is restricted." "HOA property." The man's tone is firm but dismissive. Ethan rolls down his window, gaze fixed on the guard. "Restricted?" he mutters. "I grew up right there." He points to an old oak tree still standing at the edge of the lot, the only piece of his childhood left. The guard squints. "Look, sir, whatever used to be here isn't anymore. Please move along." Ethan nods, drives off, but his hands tremble on the steering wheel. That tree marks the boundary line of his family's deeded property, land that was never for sale. Shock and disbelief turn into the quiet hum of restrained fury. That night, under dim light, Ethan opens an old lockbox in his truck and pulls out the original property deed, still under his name. The next morning, Ethan walks into the HOA's modern office building. Glass walls, polished floors, a sharp contrast to the rugged farm life he remembers. At the front desk, he asks to see the president. Enter Marilyn Drake, mid-50s, well-dressed, confident, with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. She extends a hand politely but speaks with authority. "Mr. Cole, how can we help you?" He sets the paper deed on her desk. "By explaining how my family's land became your development." Her eyes flick to the document, then back to him. "I'm sure there's a misunderstanding. Willow Creek was legally acquired from the prior developer." "Which developer?" "Willow Estates Holdings." Ethan frowns. "Never heard of them." He flips through his deed. The county record shows no sale, no transfer. Marilyn forces a smile. "I'm afraid your paperwork is outdated, but if you believe there's been an error, feel free to take it up legally." Her tone is dismissive, smug, the kind of corporate arrogance that hides fear. Ethan looks at the wall behind her, a framed partnership certificate showing Marilyn Drake and Willow Estates Holdings, LLC, dated just 2 years ago. His eyes narrow. "You said years ago. That's 2, she shrugs. "Then sue us if you think you can." Ethan picks up the deed and walks out. "Oh, I will. But not yet." The next few scenes unfold in quiet observation. No big confrontation and only patience. Ethan spends his evenings parked across from the new subdivision, watching construction crews finish driveways and landscapers plant flowers. He could call a lawyer immediately. He could storm the county office. But he doesn't. He waits, letting them finish the job. As bulldozers smooth the last layer of pavement, he murmurs his grandfather's old advice under his breath. Never interrupt a man digging his own hole. At night, he drives to the county registry. The clerk, an older woman who remembers his grandfather, helps him quietly file a claim of ownership hold, essentially locking the deed from transfer until reviewed. No one in the HOA notices. Rain against glass, the flicker of the courthouse light, the soft rustle of paper as he files the claim, symbolic of how quietly power shifts. The registrar looks up. "You realize this hold applies to all parcels built on that land?" Ethan smiles faintly. "Yes, all 78 of them. Months pass. Families move in. Life flourishes across Willow Creek. Kids play in driveways. Sprinklers spray across neat lawns. Mailboxes line the streets, all built on land that still belongs to Ethan Cole. But strange things begin happening in the HOA office. Emails from the county mention ownership discrepancies. Tax notices bear Ethan's name. Marilyn's assistant nervously brings her a stack of letters. "Ma'am, these say the legal owner of every parcel is still—" "Ethan Cole." Marilyn waves it off. "A system error." "I'll handle it." But when she checks the county's digital record, The field-marked owner shows one name. Repeated 78 times, Ethan Cole. Marilyn's reflection in her office window as she stares at the name glowing on her computer. Realization beginning to dawn. Ethan receives a refund check from the county, addressed to Ethan Cole, owner of Willow Creek Residences. He holds it up to the light, smirking softly. Guess the system noticed. Late one night, Marilyn's assistant, Connor, digs deeper into archived files to reassure her. But what he finds makes his skin crawl. The developer's transfer of land file only contains photocopies, no signed originals. The chain of ownership was never legally completed. Connor storms into Marilyn's office, pale. "Ma'am, we don't own any of this." "The land never transferred. It's still his," Marilyn freezes. "That's impossible." He shows her the scanned forms, missing signatures, unverified stamps. She swears under her breath. "Then fix it, quietly." But the next day, they discover Ethan's ownership hold prevents any updates or deletions. The office lights flicker as she realizes the truth. Their entire empire is built on stolen soil. Ethan watches from his truck as workers post new "no trespassing" signs, ironically on land that's legally his. Ethan meets with his friend, Clara Mendez, a sharp real estate attorney who helped his grandfather with old zoning disputes. They sit in her dim office surrounded by stacks of files. Ethan lays out the deeds, tax records, and development plans like a chessboard. Clara flips through the papers, eyebrows raised. "You could sue right now, Ethan. They'd lose everything." Ethan, "If I do, the half-built homes might get abandoned. Families lose their savings. I want them to finish first." Clara, "You're letting them finish the trap?" He nods. "Once the last nail is hammered, I'll own not just the dirt, but everything they built on it." Clara leans back, half amused, half awed. "You're not just patient. You're poetic." The rain outside, the slow pull-in shot on Ethan's calm face. A man who has turned patience into vengeance. A few months later, the final ribbon-cutting ceremony is scheduled. Ethan stands among the crowd, hands in pockets, watching as they celebrate on land that's already legally his. The day arrives. Colorful balloons line the streets. Food trucks park under string lights. Children laugh as the HOA hosts its grand opening festival. Marilyn takes the stage, her confidence restored. "To our thriving community, to new beginnings." Applause echoes through the neighborhood. Cameras flash. But as she raises her glass, Ethan walks slowly down the main street, unnoticed by most but not by her. He pauses near the oak tree, the same one from his childhood, and kneels to touch the soil. His voice is soft but resolute. "Still mine." The camera lingers, his hand brushing the dirt as memories flicker. His grandfather teaching him how to mark boundaries. His father plowing this very field. His mother hanging laundry in the wind. "Cinematic shift," Clara calls him, voice urgent. "Ethan, the registry system just updated automatically. Every house is now linked to your ownership record." The system recognized the claim. Ethan's eyes narrow slightly. "Then it's time." He looks up at Marilyn across the street. She's mid-speech, basking in pride, completely unaware that the land under her feet legally no longer belongs to her. The serenity of Willow Creek begins to fracture. Homeowners start receiving official letters from the county recorder's office. "Property deed irregularity under review. Owner Ethan Cole." At first, people assume it's a mistake. But the letters keep coming. Mortgage statements stop. Insurance companies freeze accounts. Panic ripples across the neat rows of manicured lawns. The HOA meeting that week is chaos. A crowd of frightened residents fill the community center. Voices clash. "Who is Ethan Cole? Is our land even legal? We paid everything. How can this happen?" Marilyn slams her gavel. "Enough! These are clerical errors. The development was approved and I personally signed." She stops mid-sentence as she notices Connor in the back. Pale and silent, the camera pushes close on her trembling hand gripping the gavel. For the first time, she doesn't sound certain. Later that night, Marilyn looks out her window and freezes. Across the street, Ethan's truck is parked quietly under a streetlight, headlights glowing faintly. She whispers under her breath, "He's watching." Marilyn's patience snaps. She storms across the street, heels clicking on the wet pavement. The night air hums with the faint buzz of crickets. Ethan steps out of his truck, calm, hands in his jacket pockets. "What's your game, Cole?" she hisses. "No game," he replies softly. "Just watching my land." "You don't own this anymore. That's what you keep saying." "The law disagrees." She steps closer, fury trembling in her voice. "You think you can scare me? I've built this place from the ground up." Ethan smiles faintly. "Correction. You built it on my ground." For a second, silence. Only the faint rumble of thunder in the distance. "You'll regret this," she spits. "I already don't." She walks away, her reflection warping in puddles, a visual metaphor for her crumbling control. Ethan pulls out his phone and types one word to Clara. "Ready?" Morning light hits the local paper headline. "Local man claims ownership of entire Willow Creek development. HOA in crisis." Cameras. Reporters and legal teams flood the quiet suburb. Homeowners demand answers. Marilyn bursts into the HOA office, slamming the paper on her desk. "Who leaked this?" Connor looks up nervously. "The court filings went public, ma'am." Her phone rings and the county judge himself. "Mrs. Drake, we've scheduled a review hearing for Mr. Cole's ownership claim." "Next week." The color drains from her face. Outside, reporters surround Ethan's modest truck. "Mr. Cole, are you saying the entire subdivision is yours?" Ethan just looks into the camera, composed. "I'm saying the law remembers what people forget." Marilyn watches the news feed from her office window, her reflection flickering over Ethan's face on the TV. Willow Creek becomes a storm of fear and anger. Residents confront Marilyn in the HOA meeting room. "We trusted you. Our mortgages are frozen. You said it was legal." Marilyn raises her hands defensively. "I'm doing everything I can." A man shouts, "You lied to us!" and throws a crumpled notice onto the table. Connor tries to restore order, but the crowd's rage drowns him out. Meanwhile, across town, Ethan watches from his truck, parked on a hill overlooking the neighborhood. He doesn't smile. His eyes are heavy, sad even. He isn't proud of what's happening, but he knows it's necessary. Soft piano music underscores his silence as he whispers to himself, "This isn't revenge. It's correction." The evening news airs an update. If the court sides with Ethan Cole, every home in Willow Creek could legally belong to him. The courthouse is packed. Reporters, lawyers, homeowners. The air is thick with tension. Ethan stands at one table, calm and steady, his posture quiet but unyielding. Marilyn sits opposite, eyes shadowed by sleepless nights, her lawyer whispering hurriedly beside her. The judge enters. Court is in session. Marilyn's attorney begins. "Your Honor, this man's claim is absurd. Hundreds of families live there. This can't be possible." Ethan speaks only when prompted. "Your Honor, the facts are simple. I never sold the land. No transaction, no transfer. They built over what they never bought." He produces the original deed, yellowed with age, embossed seals still visible. The courtroom murmurs, the sound of disbelief growing louder. The judge leans forward, his gavel resting on his fingertips. "Mr. Cole, are you saying 78 houses were built on property you never sold?" "Ethan, exactly." The judge frowns. "Then this court has a serious problem." Clara steps forward, confident and meticulous. She lays out the evidence. The blocked title transfer, the missing signatures, the county's unbroken ownership chain showing Ethan Cole as the sole owner. "Every parcel, every address, every mortgage, all trace back to one man," she says, her voice steady. The defense fumbles. Marilyn's lawyer stammers, "He's exploiting a technicality." Clara replies sharply, "It's not a technicality when it's the law." Ethan remains silent through it all, only speaking once. They thought they could bury the truth under concrete. But the law doesn't forget. The crowd is hushed. Even the homeowners, once furious, begin to realize this isn't fraud. It's negligence. The judge slams the gavel. This court moves to full property review, effective immediately. All HOA control is suspended pending verification. Within days, the illusion collapses. Banks freeze HOA accounts. Developers pull out. Contractors stop answering Marilyn's calls. Insurance companies demand restitution. She sits alone in her office, surrounded by unopened mail, court summonses, refund demands, angry letters from residents. Connor enters, eyes red from exhaustion. "Ma'am, it's over. The land was never ours." She stares out the window, across the same neighborhood she once bragged about, where kids ride bikes and parents mow lawns, unaware their lives hang in limbo. "He's going to take everything," she whispers. Connor shakes his head softly. "He's just taking back what was already his." The camera lingers on Marilyn's reflection in the dark office window, faint and ghost-like. While in the distance, Ethan walks past with quiet resolve. Marilyn turns from the window, grabs her phone, and dials a number with trembling hands. "Ethan, we need to talk." The night after the court ruling, Ethan's phone buzzes. Unknown number. He answers, a shaky voice whispers, "Ethan, it's Marilyn." He pauses. The same woman who dismissed him, threatened him, laughed at him. Now she sounds hollow, defeated. "Name your price, please. Just don't take their homes." Ethan's voice is calm, almost tired. "It's not about money." "Then what is it?" She pleads. "Respect," he says softly. "And accountability." Silence. You can hear her faint sob. "You'll ruin them, Ethan," he exhales. "No, you already did. I'm just revealing the truth." Camera focuses on Ethan's face lit by the soft glow of a desk lamp. Calm, resolute. Cut to Marilyn, sitting in darkness, her reflection fractured in her office glass like a broken mirror. Ethan hangs up. Clara, sitting across from him, asks, "You're going through with it, aren't you?" He nods once. Justice doesn't pause for pity. Court reconvenes. The atmosphere is electric. Homeowners fill the gallery, nervous but silent. The judge adjusts his glasses and reads from the file. After reviewing all evidence, this court recognizes Ethan Cole as the rightful and lawful owner of the property on which the Willow Creek residences were built. Gasps fill the room. Marilyn's face drains of color. Effective immediately, the judge continues, the HOA is dissolved. Mr. Cole may proceed with legal disposition of the properties. Chaos erupts. "What happens to us?" a homeowner cries. "We've done nothing wrong." Another shouts. Ethan rises slowly. "You're right," he says gently. "You haven't. That's why I'm not taking your homes." The room falls silent. All I wanted was acknowledgement, and for those who took what wasn't theirs to answer for it. Ethan turns toward Marilyn. "You tried to erase my family's name. Now you'll live with what you built." The gavel slams. Marilyn closes her eyes as flashes from cameras fill the courtroom, her empire officially gone. Weeks pass. The once proud HOA office is shuttered, the sign taken down. Ethan quietly begins reassigning deeds, transferring ownership of each home to the families who live there one by one. No fanfare. No demands for payment, just paperwork, signatures, and gratitude. A young couple approaches him in tears. "You don't know what this means to us." Ethan smiles faintly. "I do. My parents built their life on land that was rightfully theirs. You should too." Children run through the park, laughter echoing. The same land where Ethan once played as a boy. Soft sunset light, slow strings in the background, the sound of pen strokes signing freedom into paper. A small child hands Ethan a crayon-drawn picture, a stick figure man next to a tree. At the bottom it says, "Thank you, Mr. Cole, for letting us stay." He swallows hard, his stoic exterior cracking for the first time. The media hails Ethan as the man who let justice breathe. Local news anchors replay the courtroom moment, praising his restraint and integrity. Meanwhile, Marilyn faces the consequences. Fraud investigations, lawsuits, financial ruin. She sits in her dark, empty office, her reflection dim in the glass. On her desk sits an envelope, the last thing she expected. Inside, a handwritten note from Ethan. "Marilyn, I don't need your apology. I just hope you understand what you built and what you destroyed were never the same thing. E.C." She stares at the note for a long moment, then folds it gently and sets it aside. For the first time, her eyes soften. She looks out the window at the same oak tree in the distance, the only thing still standing from before, and whispers, "He was right." Months later, construction sounds return, but this time by Ethan's choice. He rebuilds his grandfather's barn at the edge of the property, restoring what the land once was. Neighbors, the same homeowners who once feared him, come to help. They bring tools, food, laughter. A community reborn. Clara visits and watches him from a distance. "You could have made millions," she says softly. Ethan wipes sweat from his brow. Money fades. Land remembers. He looks around, kids chasing each other, people grilling, the sound of hammers and laughter. "My grandfather used to say, 'The earth doesn't belong to us, we just belong to it for a while.'" The rebuilt barn glows under the golden hour sun, the oak tree standing tall beside it, a symbol of both endurance and grace. Ethan opens a drawer in the barn, places the original deed next to an old photograph of his grandfather smiling. He whispers, "We did it." The final scene fades in slowly, the sun setting behind Willow Creek. The homes gleam in amber light. Wind rustles through the oak leaves. Ethan stands under the tree, hands in his pockets, watching children play where tractors once tore through the soil. The camera circles him slowly as his voice narrates softly. "They thought I wanted revenge, but all I wanted was peace, and to remind them that justice doesn't shout. It waits." He kneels, touches the ground one last time, the dirt that carried generations before him. Then he walks toward the barn, the camera pulling back wide, showing the peaceful balance restored between the land and the people who live on it.